People whose first relationship was very long term. What weird thing did you believe was normal until you started seeing other people? I see so much horrible things on here. Mine is quite tame, but here goes. My first boyfriend would always leave me small presents or notes underneath my pillow if I had to get up earlier than he did. He was quite romantic and told me I love you quite a lot. When I got a new boyfriend, I caught myself looking underneath my pillow for at least a month/2 months in. Just out of habit. That you should be happy together now. And not constantly waiting for some vaguely defined future where everything's settled down. Daily binge drinking until I realized I'm an alcoholic, and B, hetero relationships don't work when one partner tries to drink the gay away. Only took me 9 years, but I got there eventually. Not me, but the girl I'm currently dating said that her first long-term boyfriend would stare at himself in the bathroom for an hour or so before going to bed each night. Was your girlfriend dating Patrick Bateman? Edit. Thank you for the gold. I thought most guys liked having their nipples played with because my first ex did. She made me believe the old TV tropes of women never wanting sex. I had to work my ass off to get her to give me some action. The next girl I had was just f***ing amazed that I didn't just ask for it when I wanted it. The bewildered look on her face when she finally asked, "You realize I'm horny too, right?" I texted my then new girlfriend about where I was and who I was with about every 30 minutes. After the third time, she told me that she didn't need to get updates on what I was doing, and to just let her know when I got home safe. I remember feeling almost a physical weight being lifted off my chest because I didn't have to worry about my girlfriend freaking out if I didn't update her. I learned what trust felt like that night. This is morbid, but I thought it was normal to argue every day. I thought all couples have their bickering and it was just a regular thing. I was astounded when I went into my next relationship and actually got on with the guy and went weeks and weeks without having any issues. It always felt like the bubble was going to burst. Goes to show, don't stay in a relationship just because you've already invested a ton of time. You get one life. Spend it with someone who makes you laugh every day. PRN is not a documentary. Being used as a sex doll. Contorted into uncomfortable positions. And pounded until you bleed. Can't stand up. Or just break down crying from the pain isn't normal. Nor is an LSX a necessity. We were both virgins and he had major PRN brain. I thought I was bad at sex and would never be able to have a positive experience with intimacy until I finally left him and was with my second boyfriend. I'm okay now. Not every guy wants to throw on Motown and slow dance with you. Some of them don't even care to touch you. I miss the slow dances. My ex put her happiness on me, making it my responsibility. Would demand I stay around and cut my work hours back and then be upset when we wouldn't have money to go out. Every time I would try and leave, I was coerced with sex to stay. Because I was young and stupid. After 8 years I had enough. I moved 5 states away. Had a chain of bad relationships that ended. Took some time to work on myself and I'm now engaged to an amazing woman I can communicate with, share feelings about issues, and who values a healthy relationship. Psychological abuse. I have a physical reaction now when my current partners are nice to me when I do something he would have berated me for hours and locked me in my room for. Like, I get a panic attack because my partners are nice to me when I drop a glass. Or got laid off. Or forgot to unload the dishwasher. And then they don't bring it up every time they're irritated with me. My ex was still yelling at me 14 years later for shit I did when we first started dating. Shit like I forgot to pick up his laundry from the floor or bought the wrong brand of bacon. At the end there. The lectures lasted hours as he recounted 14 years of offenses. My current partners? They don't throw shit in my face that I did the day before. The dissonance is crazy. I knew the other abuse wasn't normal. But my stepdad is the same way with my mom. So I had no idea. I just thought it's how men are. That some girls in a relationship don't like to kiss as often as others. I'm just talking about pecs when IGF gets home, etc. I always enjoyed a hello kiss, but I guess some girls don't. Herpes free since 73. With a username like that I would have also been a little hesitant to get a peck. Being cowed into an open arrangement equals normal. Him introducing me to friends while hanging out or going to parties, and then him telling me later in the evening after the ice had broken that they were actually the girl he was effing. Capitulating to his insistence that we continue to hang out even though I was uncomfortable with knowing this new information equals normal. Him making unwelcome and uncomfortable comments to other women I was friends with in front of me to attempt to orchestrate threesomes that I was not okay with equals normal. If you love me, you'll chase after me equals normal. If you love me, you'll leave FaceTime up at all times so I can see what's going on in your dorm equals normal. If you love me, you will not show any sad or mad emotion because it ruins my mood equals normal. People's love languages are all different. It's especially jarring when you have a lot of experience doing things a certain way and then finding out that isn't what somebody else needs. It can take some work to figure out what's inherent to yourself and what was learned from your partner. My ex basically taught me that it wasn't okay for me to be upset about things. Every time I would get my feelings hurt, even when I was upset about something completely unrelated to him, it was somehow flipped around, so I ended up reassuring and comforting him. That shit really messed me up. And I basically had to relearn how to be vulnerable with myself. He also had a very solid plan of how he expected me to live my life. Basically his main goal for me was to have kids and be a good housewife. Yikes. On the bright side, nowadays I'm happily engaged and my fiance treats me with so much love and respect. He's supportive of my dreams and we are able to lean on each other in times of hardship. That every time was essentially a quickie. Almost a whole decade of nothing but 5 thrusts and then blast off. After that relationship ended, I felt like Jasmine on a magic carpet ride. A whole new world. I tried to change her. That was my emotional insecurity. My bad, Melissa. A lot of girls like to FCK. I left a GF for 3 years. A girl I thought I was going to marry. For this. She just had an almost zero sex drive. Even from the beginning. She thought 3-4 times a year was plenty. In the end, I decided life was too short to have sex once every 4 months and dealt with over a year of heartbreak. Instead of a lifetime of craving sex I wouldn't get. Before I left, I remember trying to soothe myself with, hey, once you are like 70, it won't even matter. Your partner should actually make an effort to spend time with you. You shouldn't have to surprise them to spend any time with them. Just a SFW remark. Her father hating me. I just thought this was normal. But in the subsequent 3 relationships, last one turning into a marriage and family, the parents were kind and I couldn't believe that is possible. Sorry. I don't have any NSFW things. All the girls were very open to experiments. This is a little strange, I guess. Sort of an individual thing. But with my first 2 relationships, 5 years total between the 2, I never realized how cuddly I am. I used to hate being touched or kissed. And I never realized that wasn't just the way I was. I even thought I might be Azul. But deep down I knew that wasn't the case. My fiance used to be the same way. But when we met, somehow things just clicked into place. That sex should last more than 45 seconds. I would lick the side of my first girlfriend's face like a dog and she loved it. My second girlfriend slapped me when I tried it. Edit. My first gold. Thanks. I was not expecting so many people would relate to that. Suicide threats. Black eyes. Self-harm manipulation. Social media and phone stalking rights. Remove female friends from social media plus life. Sex as a currency. Must respond to texts within 20 minutes or the result is one or more of the above. Finally got out of that one after 3 long years. Learned a whole lot. Helped to build my now very strong relationship though, so hey. Take the positive and leave the rest, am I right? I grew up in a pretty strict Christian home and was taught that sex before marriage was a sin. My first teenage boyfriend and I were together for 5 years and never came anywhere close to having sex. At the time, I thought it was because I was a good Christian. Since sex before marriage was wrong, I didn't want to have sex with him. All my friends were either having sex or struggling not to. I didn't understand this because I didn't have the desire to do wrong. Just as I didn't have the desire to hurt people or lie or steal. He and I broke up as our lives went in different paths. My next relationship became SZOL pretty quickly. And it was only then that I realized that I was never really attracted to my ex. Which is why I didn't want to have sex with him. Even though I knew sex wasn't supposed to hurt, I thought I was just one of those girls that couldn't get wet where sex hurts. I am not. I was just not physically attracted to him at all, but I thought that was how all couples felt after the honeymoon period wore off. I never dared to look at his body for an extended period of time, and I never felt comfortable being naked. When we broke up, I thought I was a ZOL or lesbian. I identify as bisexual because I just didn't seem to like men at all. Turned out I just wasn't attracted to that many men. I can now stare at my partner for hours, and even just watching him doing mundane things can turn me on in an instant. I love laying naked in bed with him, whether it's to cuddle or to have sex. I feel comfortable around him and are not afraid of his penis either. She's supposed to be nice to you. Who would have thought? I found it amazing how down to earth, reasonable, and aware I thought I was the whole time. Eventually, it hit me like a brick. How naive I was. How I would find ways to justify anything and everything. I was disgusted with myself. Realizing how each time I was treated like shitty, I would pat myself on the back for being able to endure the hard times that others wouldn't be able to. Yeah. I thought I was a true Prince Charming who was earning his eventual, inevitable happy ending. No. Value yourself more. I do believe that it is possible to find your true love online and maintain a fulfilling and rewarding long-distance romantic relationship for a long time. But not forever. But never justify being treated badly. Never justify being neglected. And never ever assume that this is as good as you can get. You can't even dream of what you can achieve and who else you'll meet. He had a birth defect which left him with 2 holes in the tip of his penis. I thought one was for pee and the other was for sperm. My next boyfriend was very confused when I asked him why he only had 1 hole. Edit. Thanks for all the medals. Whoa. I'm also embarrassed by how many people have read this. And since there's too many comments to reply to, but I kept getting asked. My school's sex ed program was separated by gender. So I only learned female anatomy. Dicks aren't pretty, so I never went out of my way to look at one up close until I met my boyfriend. My first boyfriend was so ridiculously clingy. Like if we were in bed together we would have to cuddle, otherwise he would cry and think that I was mad at him. When in reality I was just hot and wanted some space. I just thought that's what relationships were. My relationship now is nothing like that. It is so nice to be in the same room but doing completely separate things and not have to worry about each other. Wait. Not everyone wants commitment? I always look to the future. It was nice that the guys I dated in between my long relationships were kind enough to break it off when they realized what I was really after though. Just like a lot of toxic behavior. It wasn't a healthy relationship and I found myself looking after the other person and organizing my life around their needs. 4 years later and I'm still learning what a healthy relationship looks like and what it's like when someone is looking after my needs. Don't know. Never saw anyone else. Married her. Edit. As a neat side effect. We do tons of stuff I am sure other people would think is really weird. Abuse. I thought occasional abuse was just, you know, part of the mix of things. Sometimes you get good times. Sometimes you get attacked. I was just lucky I was big so she couldn't do much damage. I felt for other guys who probably had it way worse. It was eye-opening to find out random physical attacks weren't just part of the excitement. Girls be crazy. Right? But everybody knows that. Emotional and you know. They beat you and draw blood sometimes. Ha. Ha. Whatever. My first GF used to squirt. Nothing to do with me, that's just how she was. After say 5 minutes of foreplay she'd be squirting all over the place. And then for the rest of the session she'd be extremely wet. Fast forward to my next relationship. I was like, damn. You broke. Was fingering her profusely. Doing all sorts of things and was getting frustrated because I thought she wasn't into me. Or I was doing something wrong. Edit. Goodbye inbox. Also. Yes. Okay, I get it. It's pee. It didn't smell like pee. And or look like pee, but whatever, it's pee. But it was also almost 17 years ago. You shouldn't have to be the only one putting in any effort. My first BF never let me get to know him. It was like pulling teeth to get anything. He knew I had siblings. That I was a closet pagan. I liked experimenting with cooking. And a bunch of other things. But I had to basically stalk his socials to learn anything about him. If I asked his opinion on an outfit. Or basically anything. He didn't care. I never learned what he liked. And I got tired of doing what felt like all this extra work for someone who didn't care about me. Crying. All the time. She would use tears to the point of manipulation. This was in high school BTW. I thought that was just a girl thing, but no way. My current GF and I have been dating for 3.5 years and she only cries when she's in pain or having a panic attack. Both of which are not my fault and I can help her through. Damn, I thought every girl cried like 3 times a day. If any of you are dating a Kendra from Southern California, get the hell away. That mental emotional abuse and not doing things together was normal. If that makes sense. We met online and our first date was okay. But that was the last time we ever really went out in public. He was older than me, so after work he would come to my college dorm. He forced me to have sex. And would get angry with me if I didn't. Mock sadness and disappointment in me. I didn't want to, but I thought I loved him and I thought he knew best. He would avoid me for months at a time. Just saying he was busy, usually during the summer. He was a teacher. And then try to convince me everything was okay come September. He got engaged to another woman while still trying to convince me we were a happy couple. They got married 2 months ago. Yes. I should have registered the signs. But he was my first relationship ever and I just wanted to believe it was all normal and okay. Open bracket. On a much happier, lighter note. I am currently engaged to the actual man of my dreams. And he treats me like a princess. It was very minor, all things considered. I got used to never being complimented. Just criticized. I take that back. He did compliment me. Once. He told me that in Saudi, his parents worked for an oil company and had moved there. I'd be worth many camels because I was buxom. Had childbearing hips. And reddish hair. Yeah. He actually said buxom. I've been married 22 years. And he was several years before that. And I still don't do well with compliments. Well, this thread turned out quite a bit darker than I had hoped. Emotional abuse. I kinda just assumed it was normal to have to text her every 5 minutes with updates on what I'm doing and who I'm with. I figured every couple gets in fights every week that end with very harsh things being said. And I kept telling myself that it was just a lull in the relationship. Because every relationship has its lows. 3 years into the relationship I realized it wasn't a simple low time. I was unhappy because I was doing what she wanted me to do. Not what I wanted to do. I was 18 when I met my boyfriend, now my ex. He was my first boyfriend. Never dated anyone before him. We did everything together. Literally everything. And I thought that was how a relationship should be. When we broke up, I lost everything. I didn't really know what movies I liked, because we always picked them together. I didn't know what music I liked, because we always picked it together. I didn't have any friends anymore because they were our friends, and I moved back to my hometown when we broke up. I lost my entire identity because I was so used to always be a half of something. I was 24 when I broke up with him. It lasted 6 years. You're apparently not supposed to be afraid of your boyfriend. And a man doing his share of his own housework is not impossible to come by nor something you can't realistically expect. Also, your partner isn't supposed to hate your friends and family nor shout at you about not having steak for dinner. And throwing glasses plates at you or throwing punches is, like, frowned upon. I'm living a much better life nowadays. Truly. :